Welcome to day 65, Quantum's Liberty. Hello, birdies. There's your water. Hope this day's finding you well. Today is day 65 of the Quantum's Liberty DeStress series. And today I have Zelda with me. There you go, birdies. Zelda's 12 years old, and she has a mom who works in critical care in San Benito, California. And in San Benito, Zelda and her mom, Zelda's 12, and Zelda's mom has been talking about a great deal of misinformation and confusion that is happening. So this is a de-stress series. This is about de-stressing during the pandemic. So we're going to start tapping on the karate chop point right there. You can go like this, or you can go this way. So it's just underneath your pinky and above your wrist. And you can use 4 fingers, and that way you get the point for sure. So this point right here, what it does is it slows down the firing of the neurons to the amygdala, which is your fight-flight center of the brain. And when that fight-flight center is triggered, what it does is it will constrict the vessels in your prefrontal cortex, and it will also send oxygen to your arms and legs so you can run from the saber-tooth tiger. But when we're tapping on this point right here, the karate chop point, then those neurons, those signaling going to the amygdala slows down. And then that way, the vessels in your prefrontal cortex, which is your area for self-awareness, that area stays dilated, and the oxygen stays in that area of the brain instead of rushing down to the arms and legs, so that instead of running, you can think about the next best thing to do. So we're going to de-stress. We're going to reduce our cortisol levels 37% in 1 week of tapping and meditation. So we'll be doing the tapping every day, and we're going for a 16-week session. And this is going to end on February 12. So we are at day 64. This was started during COVID-19 coronavirus class for critical care personnel, and so the date was 16 weeks, and that brought us to February 12th. So if we have to go further out, we will. But for now, we're on day 64, and we're tapping away. And what we're doing when we're tapping every day for a week, if you're tapping, you will reduce your cortisol levels 37% in 1 week, and also raise your immunoglobulin levels 113% in 1 week of tapping and meditation, which is wonderful, because especially these IgA immunoglobulins, they are in your respiratory tract. So if you are getting COVID-19 or a flu that is similar to the respiratory illness, these tapping meditations will help to boost your immune system. In particular, those IgAs of the respiratory tract will go up 113% in 1 week of tapping and meditation. So we're going to start off by tapping on the news, which can be a bit frustrating, is what Zelda and her mom were talking about. So Zelda's 12, and she understands that her mom is working in an ICU in San Benito, California, and there are 2 hospitals. There's one main hospital in their town, and that one has had 0% capacity, no openings in the ICU. So what they did was they built 6 more beds in the parking lot, and they do not have the nurses or doctors to take care of anybody in those beds. So when people are talking about 0% capacity, in an ICU. They're talking about the fact that we do not have people to come and take care of other people who are getting sick. So what we need to do is we do need to wear our mask, and we need to socially distance, and we need to wash our hands with soap for 20 seconds, because the virus has a lipid-soluble membrane, so we can break it down with 20 seconds, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000 with the soap, and that will break down the membrane. And the other thing we can do is we can reduce our cortisol levels and raise our immunoglobulin levels so that we can have a better immune system and a reduced stress response, which will improve our health also, and help us to be much healthier in the face of all of this that is going on in our lives. So apparently there are some people who don't really take this very seriously, and that's okay. Like, there's some people who are just gonna keep their blindfolds on about it, right? But we know that we have eyes to see. We can choose to keep a blindfold on, and we also have hands to remove that blindfold. So we can tap and not be afraid to look, but to have courage to look and see what needs to be done. So right now we do know that the San Benito healthcare system is on overwhelm. So healthcare at Hazel Hawkins Memorial Hospital, the ICU is at 0% capacity. At Chomp County Hospital of Monterey Peninsula, they were at capacity last weekend, and then they were at 90%, according to KSBW. And San Benito County, the only hospital in that county is at capacity. And the Public Health Department is saying that that's Sherry Hernandez and Susan Postigo are asking that we shut down in that county so that the ICU nurses and doctors can take care of the people that they can fit in the beds that they have at present. So right now, we really, in that county, they really want to make sure that they don't have more cases getting sick and needing hospitalization, because even though they can put 6 beds out in the parking lot, they don't have nurses and doctors to take care of those people, or respiratory therapists and anesthesiologists to intubate these really sick people. So we really need to do what we can do, which is to maintain clear thinking and to follow the science behind what medicine is needing us to do to help support all of the medical professionals who will tell us and tell the professionals that are doing the policy making what needs to be done. So there's several things that are going on right now. Like Brett Miller is a city manager in San Benito, and he was saying that there are restaurants that do not want to close and have remained open despite the stay-at-home orders. So the thought behind that is that the restaurant owner of Payne's Restaurant is saying that he wants to stay open because his employees are like his kids, and how can he not pay them? So it's a possibility that we need to create some kind of a fiscal and a regulatory system that will work. Like maybe people who have to stay at home can order food out with DoorDash or Uber Eats and things like that, so that the restaurants can stay in business and therefore, help support people's livelihoods. But things are really bad, and the problem that Zelda was saying is that her mom, there's no place to put these other people who, if they do get sick, there's no one to take care of them. So what will happen is what is happening in 9 other states as we speak, is that people are having to choose who lives and who dies. So the best thing to do is to stay at home, wear your mask outdoors so that you don't be spreading any viral load around and you don't pick it up. So it's really simple. You don't give it, you don't get it, and know it's airborne and deadly. 3 things, right? So you can, if you choose, you can leave your blindfold on and not look at that, or you can take your hands and you can take that blindfold off and you can look at the truth. And the truth is being said by the scientists, and what is being said in the ICUs is that what we need to do is to wear a mask, and that will help prevent the transmission from one person to another. So when you're outdoors, the recommendation, Dr. Fauci is saying that he would like to have a 100-day national mask mandate. And the other thing that they're talking about is to shut down businesses and restaurants and bars and to make them only carry out. And in that way, we will reduce the number of people who are transmitting the virus from one to another. But the problem right now is that the restaurants and the bars in San Benito County in San Joaquin, they filed a lawsuit against Jerry Hernandez and Susan Postigo, the public health officials, saying that they want to leave their restaurants and their bars open. So they filed a lawsuit against the county because outdoor dining in the past was said to be a low risk of transmission. So what we really need to do is to get everybody on board. And so far, the doctors in 5 counties, in San Francisco, Berkeley, have said that the best thing to do is to lock down. So preemptively, before Governor Newsom said, all right, let's lock down because we're waiting till we get to 12.5% capacity for the ICUs, they said no, it's going much too fast. The viral load is spreading too fast, and the cases are extremely quickly moving past what the hospitals can handle. So this is very intelligent because they know their number of staff and they know what they can handle. Unfortunately, Zelda's mom works in an ICU where their San Benito hospital was at capacity, full capacity, last weekend, 0%. They can't go anymore. So that's why it was ordered for a lockdown, but now all these businesses are saying, no, we're going to stay open anyway. So the problem is, what's going to happen, right, when these people get sick? Because there already is 0% right now. There's nowhere for them to go. All the states alongside of us are in the purple zone too. So there's not like we can ship people 500 miles to another state. We can't. So we really do need to listen to the science, listen to the doctors, and let's just get through this. So we're going to visualize radiant health. All right, and we're going to tap to bring the stress levels down, the cortisol levels down. And we're also, when we're tapping on these points, we'll start by tapping on any resistance that we have to an image of radiant, beautiful health. So let's imagine ourselves, even in the midst of coronavirus, close your eyes, take a nice deep breath, and imagine yourself with that beautiful radiant health, and you're running around and you're with your friends and you're having a great time. All right, just picture yourself doing that. Zelda loves to walk and run, so you imagine yourself walking and running with all of your girlfriends and your friends, and then imagine that, and imagine if you feel inside of you, is there anything inside of you, anywhere, that is saying, I cannot have that radiant health? And if so, where is that in your body? And rate it 0 to 10, where 10 is the biggest resistance you could have to having radiant health, and 0 is no resistance at all to having radiant health. So imagine that, and Zelda has that area in her body, and then just write it in the air, and then also write the number that it is in the air, and then afterwards we'll rate it again. Okay, ready? So now that you have that beautiful image of radiant health, first we're going to tap, because tapping is breakthrough technology. It will help you to to be able to see difficult things, feel difficult things inside of you, maybe sadness, deep sadness, like Zelda was saying that her heart feels really sad that she can't be with her friends. So we're going to tap on that deep sadness, and then we'll tap on deserving the radiant health, and we'll tap in that vision of radiant health. And our body and our brains will flood with these beautiful neurotransmitters and hormones that we'll talk about in a little bit, and you will feel so much better as we go through this pandemic together. So here we go. Repeating after me, we're tapping on the karate chop point right here. It's also called side of hand point. And so when you're tapping on this point, repeat after me. Even though, great, Zelda. Thanks for sharing your story. Whew. Well, all these stories are really overwhelming. So even though I have this resistance to radiant health, because I have a lot of sadness inside of me, and I want to run and play with my friends, I deeply and completely love and accept and honor myself. Even though I have this deep sadness inside of me, because I have this resistance inside of me to having a radiant health, because I feel a little bit bad about being radiantly healthy with COVID-19 in the environment, I deeply and completely love and accept myself exactly as I am. Even though I have this resistance to radiant health in the form of sadness that makes my heart feel sad, and I just don't feel like I deserve this radiant health, I deeply and completely love and accept myself, and I honor and trust myself to have my own back exactly as I am. Inside the eye, this resistance to radiant health. Outside the eye, this resistance. Under the eye, any and all resistance to radiant health. Under the nose, this resistance that I have. Chin point, resisting radiant health. Collarbone point, this fierce resistance. Under the arm, I cannot have radiant health. Top of the head, but yet I deserve radiant health. Inside the eye, I deserve to have these wonderful hormones. Outside the eye, and neurotransmitters. Under the eye, flooding my body and brain. Under the nose, like the dopamine. Chin, which is my reward hormone. Collarbone, and my go-get-em hormone. Under the arm, and serotonin. Top of the head, which floods my body and brain. Inside the eye with the tapping. Outside the eye, serotonin's the I've got it hormone. Under the eye, and these hormones unlock another one. Under the nose, which is called oxytocin. Chin point, oxytocin is the bonding hormone. Collarbone point, bonding me to what to do next. Under the arm, all of this oxytocin, top of the head, unlocks nitric oxide. Inside the eye, and anandamide. Outside the eye, which are neurotransmitters under the eye. And these create happy hormones under the nose. A beautiful reward system. Chin point, which is entirely within myself. Collarbone, and actually makes me feel way better. Under the arm, science said this biochemistry occurs. Top of the head, I deserve this radiant health. Inside the eye, I am that radiant being. Outside the eye, I have this radiant health. Under the eye, with or without COVID-19 in the environment. Nose, I am in radiant health. Chin, I walk and talk in radiant health. Collarbone point, I perceive in radiant health. Under the arm, I am that person in radiant health. Top of the head, in mind, body, and spirit. Whew, deep breath in and out. Thanks, Zelda, for sharing your story. Every little bit helps. We spread the word for truth. Bye.